we have got ourselves a running and driving hot rod. So, we're nearing the finish line. Dan here, TD Speed Shop. How's it going? We've got a few things to do. Now, my shop hand, is out of town here all winter starting next week. So we got to get the hood on, and we got to get the trunk lid all dialed together. I said before, the hinges are all mangled and cut off on this thing, so I gotta do a little screwing around with that, and then it's just a two-man job to put on the deck lid, put on the hood, just makes life a little easier. Once we get that together, that's pretty good. I did steal the latching mechanism off this car for the convertible, but we can leave that all together. It's almost snow time, so the convertible is actually going to go hang out at Mer's anyways, so not a huge issue. So when I dump it there, we'll steal parts. I really borrow parts around here a fair bit, but when you have the same car, that's what you're supposed to do. Today, we're going to start on some bodywork. Now, I'm not going to go too crazy on stuff, but I do want it to look kind of decent. I'll probably put a quick schmoo right around that line where I welded the panel on, just so it kind of blends it a little bit. The rocker is one piece, so that's good. We'll do just a little bit at the front and at the back where I joined them. The real work is going to be where the door is now the quarter panel, and then the sill, or the jamb I should say, and then right in this area where we had to kind of cut everything up. So it's probably going to be a fair bit of time lapse, but I should be able to knock this out both sides pretty quickly. I'm not going to go too crazy on the bottom. I'm pretty sure the rocker width, at least that front to back, I'm going to do rocker guard on, just because it's going to get beat up with rocks and snow and studs and whatnot, and kind of go from there. So that's the plan in this video, is probably do a bunch of body work. For sure get the hood on, because that'll just bolt on, maybe screw around on the latch, and kind of get this thing maybe primed up, ready to go. Then the next video we'll shoot it with some paint, and once the paint's on, then it's glass back seat, few little odds and ends, wiper motor, but really just put some miles on it. Got to do a bit of a home alignment on it because it's real bad, and get some plates. So that's the plan. I'll get you guys set up on the tripod. We'll start grinding this thing down and schmooing the filler on, because that's well, that's what you're supposed to do with these things. Load them with filler and drive them. So here is the plan. We have our grinder, flap discs. I got to get more of these, actually, running low. So we're going to clean up all in here. Actually, I might use a stone in there. We'll get everything cleaned up as good as we can, because I kind of went fast to get her done. And in here's not terrible. A little bit of love. So we get that all, kind of ready to go. And yeah, so we'll put you on fast motion. I got Monster Garage blasting, and unfortunately heat has to be on, so that kills the sound. So enjoy whatever terrible music I put on the soundtrack. Well, there you have it. So, one coat of schmoo on, and yeah. Unfortunately, like, it doesn't look like that much filler. When you do the down, over, and up, it's the same amount as if you're doing a full quarter panel you know, worth of sanding. At least that's on one area. This is kind of all over the place. I just gave it a quick schmuck over where I welded up the trim holes, and like I said, the bottom of the fender and a little bit on the rocker. I'm not prepping this thing super crazy because honestly I want it to kind of rust a little bit anyways. I mean, look at the rest of the car, it's so beat and whatnot. So we'll let this kind of set up a little bit. I'll be able to hog this out with a big random orbital pretty easily, just run up and down. Then obviously it'll have a bit of like a crevice canyon in there, and it'll kind of load up a few more coats filler. Up in here, unfortunately, a lot of this has to be done by hand, just because it's so awkward to get in there, and if you're using a machine, it ends up catching everything. And then same in here. I mean, just kind of, it is what it is. I just ran my finger in it, and get it all taken care of. And this, we're not trying to make it look perfect. We're just trying to make it not look like it's got welding marks and all that stuff on it. So, that's the plan. Sand filler, sand filler, sand filler, sand. So here's what I've been spending the last 45 minutes doing, but getting this smoothed out by hand. All in there by hand. Look at that, it doesn't even look like it's a pile of bits. This one needs a fair bit more filler. But we can get the big sander out, hog all this down. Around there, we'll do the door and all that. I think that's what we're leaving for tonight. I started a little late, and I'm finishing early in the morning. That's how it works. But tomorrow's a new day. Leave the heat on the garage, so it'll be nice and warm tomorrow, and we'll keep jamming. Get that going until Murray comes over. We'll put the hood on and stuff. But, yeah, a little more laps. Okay, so we have it, one coat down. Here needs a little bit more. It's got a low spot, otherwise that turned out great. I mean, all around the door opening is good. Up in here I'll need just a little bit more. A few little spots, but really not too bad. Another coat there, another coat there. The door, it probably just needs hit a little. Oh, I forgot to do the bottom of the fender, but it ain't gonna need much. The real, the roughest spot is right here, but a big part of that, this door was obviously hit and has filler and stuff like that, so it's got a low spot we got to kind of blend in, and who knows what we're going to do there. I mean, let's be honest, I'm not overly picky with it. And we got to sculpt in here and make it look decent. Hardly hear that. I can't get over the that matting. I got to get on that door yet, but that's doing it for tonight. I'll be back at tomorrow. I like to put the filler on and kind of get after it while it's still kind of soft. Versus leaving overnight, so that's just the way I run. But yeah, we'll keep jamming on tomorrow. Should be a good one. See you later. What's going on, guys? Next day, I got the garage heated up. I just put a coat of filler on, second coat. So we'll let that set up. Now while that's happening, I want to focus on the deck lid, because I feel like it's going to be a little bit time consuming. So, well, I hope it's actually not that time consuming. So I got this thing. The trunk lid was like sitting on it but cut off of it, and so here are the hinges. This is the one side. It looks like it was a clean cut, so I can probably just clean that up and weld it back together, and that'll be fine. This side was attacked by a grizzly bear and kind of all ripped apart, and it's ripped, well not ripped, but it's twisted on the car itself. So that's a pain. Fortunately, my buddy Josh was here delivering a car, and he gave me a set of replacements. Now, unfortunately, they are welded in. He cut this out of his car, or a car, whatever it is, but you can see all the fresh metal cuts. It's in with a pin, so it would come out, except it's joined to these kind of torsion bar spring things, which go side to side, so the spring goes all the way across there into that, and then vice versa. This one's been Anywho, so this one you can see right there where my thumb is, that's where it joins, it's all broken off and stuff. So, my thought process is heat this up with a torch, bend it so it's somewhat, you know, flat-ish like that one. Cut this in pieces. Then, if I measure from the end of this slot to, you know, wherever this would be, then do a straight cut across, put that on there, give it a little eyeball, and put her on. We'll have the same length. I think that's my biggest issue, is making sure it's somewhat close. If it has to go this way or that way, I will just bend it. I have no problem doing that. And the ends, well, these are slotted. In the decklet itself, it's got like a bone, I guess it's called. Basically, it's like two threaded kind of nuts on a bar, and it moves all the way around. So there's a couple inches of adjustment any which way we want. And if we have to, I mean, we could auger these out, do whatever, move it side to side and all that. Now, if it was like a fancy restoration car, maybe it'd be a bit of an issue. Same thing, I gotta kind of straighten that out. But if I get that straightened out and kind of together, I think we'll be in pretty good shape. That one all's weld on. And then, yeah. The deck lid should go on. Everything else is in good shape. I'm sure the latch is seized on the unit in the corner, but I'd sure like to get it on properly versus take it on and off a bunch of times. And then I found the hood hinges. They're actually in the trunk. They look in shockingly good shape. So I'll hose down those down with a little bit of penetrating oil just to make sure they're good. And then, I mean, they'll just bolt right on. I got springs on everything, so the hood should stay up. We can jam the hood on this thing when Mur comes over. So that's the plan. Why don't you kill that? The Fenders. Anybody ever do that? I'm obsessed now. Well, I would rather do almost anything else than bodywork, so it's been like a few hours of it. So hopefully I just get this kind of cleaned up. Have it go on. Okay, so these appear as though they were torch cut out. I tried to keep the shape as close as possible so it still kind of go together and have the right angle. I ground the top and the sides and the bottom. I don't know how I'm going to be able to get the best weld on it. But put tack on and go from there. Obviously the pin is rusty. This is going to be some tricky welding here. The problem might have been this was a little seized up. So they just kind of gave up on it and cut it out. I would assume is what happened there. So we'll have to get in there and free it up. But let's see if we can get this side squared away first. Yeah, so here's what we got going on here. I've got a pair of vice grips on it. Hopefully I can give her a little bendy bend. Now I did cut this section off myself with a zip cut when I got the car, because this was jagged. So it originally was like that and all torn to hell. So that's actually facing upside down. So this part here is supposed to be on the bottom of the deck wall, just like that. And it was like that. So looks like they torch cut the one side and then decided we'll just rip this one in half. So this is, I mean, I guess anything could be fixed, but if we have the pieces, let's use them. This is like parts car 101 stuff. She's pretty bent up, that's for dang sure. But let's try our luck at it, see what happens. So we got her kind of straightened out. The problem is, I might not show my camera, it's actually jogging out this way just a little bit, but I can't get anything on there to pry her back. So I think what I'll do, on the top, you can see I did cut this flush at one point, but it was so twisted up it obviously wasn't. So I'll dress it with the zip cut so it's flat again. We'll then do our measurement. We'll cut that piece, we'll put it on. It'll then be very apparent that it's going to be over here, but then I'll just kind of take a measurement off that and heat it up or crank her over. It might be a little jumbled up in there, but I think there's a lot of room, a lot of wiggle room. Well, once we're done that, it already had a bunch of heat in it. We should be able to, well, hose it down with penetrating oil, and then when Mer comes over, put the deck lid on, hopefully we can kind of work it back and forth. Or get this torch out and hate my life, that won't fit, and all sorts of stuff, but actually it's going to pretty easy. Easier than I thought. Well, it's not working yet, but it's going together, you know what I mean? Okay, so we'll go ahead and square the old girl off, take a measurement. This thing has a little bit of leverage. Just Gotta go twisting back. I'm thinking they probably put all the slop in these things from the factory because I knew this was going to happen. Some long-haired hippie was going to be piecing this back together with junkyard parts. Well, got a bit of a curly Q in her, but it looks kind of the same. And ultimately, once the deck lid's on there and it's kind of squared up, we can heat this up and move it around or do whatever. We can't get enough adjustment out of it. That's hot. We'll let her cool off, spray with some oil, and get back to sanding. Mer's here. Get your fill because he's out of here in a couple of days. Fortunately, I put all the bolts on their side. That was pretty clever. Alright, Mer, show them how you close the trunk lid. You gotta put some man in it. No. There you go.
Just like downtown.
Oh. Slam! There you go. So it's fine. Just don't look at it too hard. Might need a little adjustment. And this hood is absolutely beat to rat shit. It's folded there. We actually had to pull out the front because it was all mangled, but... And one little cross brace. Well, not bad. So, the fender is tight to it. The fender has to go that way a little bit. That fender has to be raised up. And at the front it fits not too bad. Well, it's a little tight actually. But again, I stole the latching mechanism for the damn convertible. So I'll do some musical parts in the next week or so, but it's like a complete car. It just looks like the windows are down. Unfortunately now, get back to bodywork, Murray, really. You took all the fun jobs.
Yeah, that's it.
Alright, back to sanding. been giving her. I think I did another coat off camera, but so there we go. It's kind of roughed in I think I said like 120 maybe. So it's far from perfect, but you know what? We're going to put it on there. We're going to scuff the car down and stuff anyways. It's pretty much irrelevant in my mind. So I got two things. I got this high build primer. I love this stuff. It'll fill in a lot of sand and scratches and soaks up in. And where did I put the other stuff? I had a can of, well, I don't know what to do with it, but I had just red oxide primer. So what I'm going to do first is we're going to fog everything that I did with like the actual filler work with this high build. Put a couple coats of that on. We'll let it sit for a little, I don't know how long it takes to dry. A couple hours maybe before I can sand it. And top coat allows 5 minutes flash time. Can be top coat in 30 minutes. I don't know. We'll see. Crank the heat, but I like to then just kind of lightly scuff it with something like 220 or something. Then we'll fire on the red oxide. Because if you look at the car, it's metal, bare metal. Then it's red oxide. Then it was black, and then it was white. So this was a completely black car, and then they put the white on after it. But up here, actually, it doesn't look like it does that. The top was always white, I guess. Yeah. Anyway, so that's the plan. We'll kind of fire it in there just with some real hokey, I'm not even going to mask it, just kind of hold a, you know, whatever, board or something around the spots. We'll give her, and then we'll put on the red oxide. Then we'll do black, and then we'll do white. That way when we scuff it up and sand it, it'll match. And then down here, like this was a funny one. This has little holes in the door. It's all warped and mangled up. So, I mean, we're just going to kind of fog it in there. We'll scuff her up. It'll be how it's going to be. It's got a bit of a whoop-de-doo in it, but, I mean, the whole quarter panel of the door is all beat. And then from probably, you know, here down, we're going to rocker guard it, so it's irrelevant. The door's got its little whoop-de-doos in it, too. We're going to leave all that. And just, yeah, kind of clean it all up, make it happen. The door's irrelevant. It was blue beforehand, so we'll just kind of, well, mine's the same thing. It was red oxide below it, but we can't really go through the, I think the blue looks terrible. I don't want to go through the blue, so I'll red oxide it, and then we'll give her a few coats of black and a few spots tomorrow again, or whenever we finish it. Probably the next video, actually, now I think about it. So I gotta get the other side done. But I should be able to finish that tomorrow. Tonight will be a little bit of painting and color close enough. It'll be far from perfect. We can always come back and fix it later, but it looks a lot better than it did, and that's all I'm really going for. Better than it was. So I've had a last minute change of plans. It's really unlike me. Usually I think things through.
Oh, did you do this body?
Yeah, thanks for watching. I'm just going to fog it with some of this red oxide now, because it's not that bad and there's some scrapes and all that in it, but honestly I think that's what I want to sand through when I'm trying to patina match it. Where did I put my masking paper? I know it's super important here, so I don't know. This high build just soaked up the primer like crazy. Not really a lot of rhyme or reason here. I'm more doing this so if it sands through, it looks cool. I really got it off the trim there. I wonder how many people by now have already commented why did I not take the trim off when I'm painting. I believe it's a lot. So we're going to do this, we're going to put a couple coats on. We actually got to go do a run, throw some garbage out. Danny just likes to toss garbage in the bed of my truck. Oh, your seat's going to get a little red. And I got to deal with it. Look at this. High quality. It's like, you could like do this in an afternoon. Actually, you know, I gotta get more of this red oxide tomorrow, which is the only can I have. And they were out of flat black, of the stuff I like.
They're always out of that.
Drives me nuts. You think they'd order, like, the Canadian Tire I go to? I feel like I should talk to the manager and be like, look, guy, have you seen the channel? Maybe I should go right to Tremclad. That's the sponsorship we need, is Tremclad. Trim clad and Coca-Cola. Hardly tell how crappy this is. Irrelevant what the door has because it's all sorts of every color. This is where it looks a lot worse where it looks any better, I guess. Eh? Hopefully there's no professional painters watching. How'd you everyone on the internet's professional? Who am I kidding? Alright, so we'll let this flash off. I think that's all I'm going to do tonight. I don't have any more paint, I don't have any more patience. So we'll let this go. And really this is all we're going to get on this side anyways. We'll show it tomorrow, but I'll start on the other side tomorrow. We'll do the same deal. Get it in primer. Actually looks a lot better just with the primer on it, eh? Looks like a real car. The hood on and all that sort of stuff. And then the video after that we'll maybe do paint and jam the glass in. I gotta get the glass. Mer's gone. Mer's going out of town. He winters in the tropics of Western Canada, but I'll need him to kind of hold the glass while I'm gluing it in, and he always has good ideas for junk like that. So that's it for tonight. We'll finish this off tomorrow. Next day, it's all dried up. I didn't do the best job right here. It's got a bit of a whoop whoop, but you know what? It's fine for now. That turned out pretty good. This line I'm pretty happy with. I could sharpen it up just a little bit. It's a little round, but sharpen it up. It's just filler. Door looks fine, everything else looks fine. Fine. I stopped by Mer's and grabbed some sanding discs because I get these off Amazon. Actually, I bought him a pack and didn't buy myself any, so that'll make life easier. I was using like 120 on this because that's the roughest I had, and this we got from 60 and 80. That'll chew through the filler a lot faster. And oh, got a floor pan. These are like hard to find, but I have one. This side, I gotta move that out of the way. This side, the door, I'll do the same thing. It's like the door's all bunged up there, but I'm gonna leave it. We'll fix that. We'll put a little schmoo on the fender. And this side actually was better, I think. Yeah, this side only had the one patch because I had the double on the other one, so that'll be faster. And up here, actually, I did a nicer job on this side. It lined up better. Yeah, looks like it should fit fine. So, I'll save you some of the boringness. I'll get this ground down, put the filler on, then we'll click on the live or the lapsy laps when I'm sanding it all down. So I'll schmoo it on, move the fill at the floor, turn the heat on, all that sort of stuff. And we'll keep jamming, and we'll get this side in primer as well. And yeah, we got ourselves a hot rod. So it's like Karate Kid, schmoo on, sand off. Door's done. I'll hit it with just a little bit finer grit there because I think this is 80. I'll do just a little bit on the wheel arch, but everything, that's fine. This actually came out pretty good. It's nice here, needs a little bit more obviously right in that section, which is where the joint is. Up here turned out pretty darn good. I did a better job on this and this, so I'll probably end up putting another coat on, sand it off, and then a third just kind of a few little hot spots and carry on. But you got the gist of it with the time lapse. I'm gonna do that 3 more times. We'll be back. We'll prime this thing, so I'll probably be a couple hours, but crank some tunes and give her. Inside the inside here came out pretty good. You know, needs a little bit more sanding, but I didn't touch down there. But otherwise, more of the same. We're getting there. So there we have it. 3 rounds of filler, and we're gonna primer it. No need to mask it. So again, we're gonna use this high build, just kind of give it a once over, and then I'll come back over it with some red oxide. Actually found some red oxide today. I couldn't find any semi-gloss black. All I could find was flat black and gloss black, so I think we're making our own. And, well, that'll be a next episode, so maybe I'll find something in between now and then. Down here looked a little meh. I could have done a better job of it. Which, let's be honest, I think that's a model for the channel. Could have done a better job of it. But overall, it'll be fine. I'm pretty sure I'm still going to undercoat the bottom. Whatever, 4 or 5 inches. I don't think I want to go into the door. I think I'm going to keep it just the rocker. And then when I do the door, I'm going to sand this down so it's metal. So it'll rust up nice. And I might even use one of those concoctions I did years ago with the hydrogen peroxide. Spray it on there, let her kind of do its thing, and carry on. So there we go. Just that easy. So we'll let this set up, we'll come back, we'll fog it red, we'll let it dry, and I think I'll probably back this thing out because the primer will flash off pretty quick. I'll crank the heat in here. And we'll clean up, we'll blow the garage off and everything, and we'll let it sit in here really hard right up because I want to scuff this up, and then we'll start painting. Huh? It'll look like an actual ratty hot rod. Having it primered sure changes it, and doing the bodywork and all that. It's not perfect, but I'm excited. I want to put the paint on. I want to get the glass in the next couple of days. And we got to give it an alignment, but this thing is, she's ready to go. Alright, well, it's primered in red oxide on this side there. I blew it all off. I'm going to drive it out. That's nice about having a driving car, especially doing bodywork. We'll drive it out. We'll get everything cleaned up in here. And then we're starting the next video. We're going to start painting it, rattle cans. So there you go. Let's get this thing out of here. Please start. Please start. It's take 1, I swear. Look at that. Outside. Bodywork done. Alright. Well, see you in the next video, which is right away.